He appeared in only 3 films in his entire life, all of them for Disney, and then just a few years later, he was gone. His name was Matthew Garber. So what actually happened to him? Let's go back to the beginning. Matthew Adam Garber was born on March 25, 1956, in Stanmore, London, England. His parents weren't famous themselves, but both worked as performers on the stage. He attended St. Paul's Primary School in Winchmore Hill and later Highgate School in Highgate. By most accounts, he was a bright, lively child, full of practical jokes on his friends. He also loved sports and had a genuine fondness for reading Shakespeare, unusual interests for a boy his age. His path into film came through an unexpected connection. Actor Roy Dotrice, father of his future co-star Karen Dotrice, brought young Matthew to the attention of Disney Studios. That introduction led to his screen debut at just 7 years old in 1963's The 3 Lives of Thomasina. A modest first role, but enough to catch Hollywood's attention. He's best remembered, though, for a part that would define his short career entirely. Young Michael Banks in Disney's Mary Poppins, once again alongside Karen Dotrice, who played his on-screen sister, Jane Banks. The film became a cultural phenomenon, going on to win 5 Academy Awards and helping make stars of Julie Andrews, Dick Van Dyke, David Tomlinson, and Glynis Johns. For a young actor, sharing the screen with performers of that caliber was a remarkable milestone. Garber and Dotrice teamed up one final time in 1967 for the Gnome-mobile. Playing grandchildren of a wealthy lumber magnate played by Walter Brennan, drawn into a story about protecting a dying gnome forest from extinction. It would prove to be his last film role. As he grew older, Garber quietly stepped away from acting entirely, choosing a very different path than the one Hollywood had offered him as a child. The decision to walk away from fame so completely, without fanfare or explanation, remains one of the most quietly striking aspects of his story. A choice that suggests a young man searching for something far more authentic than the world of make-believe could ever offer. In 1976 and into 1977, he traveled to India. While there, he contracted hepatitis, an illness that would ultimately prove far more serious than anyone anticipated. He returned to London in June of 1977, seeking better medical treatment. By then, the disease had already spread, infecting his pancreas. On June 13, 1977, Matthew Garber died at the Royal Free Hospital in Hampstead, London, England. The cause was hemorrhagic necrotizing pancreatitis. He was only 21 years old. He never married and had no children. He was cremated and his ashes were scattered at East Finchley Cemetery and Crematorium. Years later, in 2004, he was posthumously named a Disney legend, a quiet but lasting recognition of the impact his brief career had on generations of viewers. In his short life, Matthew Garber made only 3 films, all of them alongside Karen Dotrice. But in that limited time, together, they created something audiences still remember and revisit today, decades later. A childhood spent in front of the camera, remembered fondly by millions, cut short far too soon by illness nobody could have predicted. His story stands as a quiet reminder of how brief a life can be, even one that touched so many through film. What he left behind was not a long filmography, but something perhaps more enduring, a presence so genuine that it continues to resonate with those who discovered him as children and now share his films with their own families. If Matthew Garber's story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments below. And hit subscribe for more real stories behind the faces Hollywood too often forgets.